All right. So if you're here listening to us, you're probably interested in like the fastest way to figure out the best foods for burning fat.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So maybe you're getting ready for a healthier lifestyle or kicking off weight loss or just curious about the science.
Yeah.
We're tackling a YouTube video today by Dr. Sten Ekberg
Uh-huh.
called Top 10 Fat-Burning Foods for Fast Weight Loss.
Yeah.
But we're not just going to list foods.
No.
We're going deeper into the why behind their fat-burning power.
Absolutely. And what Dr. Ekberg really emphasizes is that there's no magic single food solution.
Yeah.
He actually starts by saying that no one food can like magically melt fat away,
Right.
which I think is refreshing in the world of fat diets.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah.
So many lose 10 pounds in a week promises out there.
Exactly.
So what does Dr. Ekberg suggest instead?
He focuses on what he calls a holistic approach.
Okay.
And a big part of that is understanding that while a calorie deficit is important, it shouldn't mean constant hunger.
Right.
It's about finding a way of eating you can stick with sustainable, enjoyable,
Yeah.
and focused on high-quality foods that keep you feeling satisfied.
So no more feeling deprived. How does that actually like help burn fat?
Well, Dr. Ekberg emphasizes the importance of managing hormones,
Okay.
particularly insulin.
Okay.
You've probably heard it called the fat-storing hormone.
Oh, yeah. Insulin has a bit of a bad rap.
Right. It's not necessarily bad. It's
Right.
actually essential. It's like a delivery truck.
Oh, okay.
Bringing glucose from your blood to your cells for energy.
Okay.
But when you're constantly eating things that spike insulin, like sugary drinks, processed foods, white bread, it's like that delivery truck is constantly overloaded.
Okay.
Eventually, your cells become resistant.
Oh.
And that leads to weight gain and other metabolic issues.
Okay, so we need to manage those insulin spikes. What does Dr. Ekberg recommend for that?
He gives some really interesting strategies for increasing insulin sensitivity.
Oh, okay.
Reducing inflammation is a big one.
Okay.
Think about it. If your body's constantly fighting inflammation, it's harder for it to focus on burning fat efficiently.
That makes sense. So less inflammation, more fat burning. What else helps with insulin sensitivity?
Well, he specifically mentions omega-3 fatty acids,
Oh, okay.
which we'll talk more about when we get to the food list.
Okay.
Also, magnesium and chromium are key players in healthy insulin function. And here's where it gets fascinating.
Okay.
Gut health plays a huge role, too.
Oh, wow.
The balance of bacteria in your gut can actually impact how well your body responds to insulin.
Wow. It really is a holistic picture. Isn't it so ready to unveil the fat-burning superstars?
Definitely.
All right.
But remember, this isn't a countdown.
Okay.
Each category that Dr. Ekberg presents has unique benefits that contribute to your overall metabolic health and, yes, that fat-burning potential.
Think of it as an all-star team, each player with their own special skill set.
Exactly.
All right, let's kick things off with a category that's always a hot topic, meat.
Yes.
Right.
Dr. Ekberg really champions meat.
Okay.
Especially fatty fish, grass-fed beef, and pasture-raised poultry.
Why?
High-quality protein is key.
Okay.
It keeps you feeling full longer, so you're less likely to reach for those tempting snacks that can derail your progress.
So protein is like the foundation of a satisfying meal?
Yes.
But doesn't protein have other benefits beyond just keeping us full?
Absolutely. It actually takes more energy for your body to digest protein compared to carbs or fats. This is called the thermic effect of food.
Okay.
And it means you're literally burning calories while you're digesting that protein.
Okay, that's a win-win. Now, what about specific types of meat?
Sure.
Are all proteins created equal in Dr. Ekberg's eyes?
Well, he really emphasizes fatty fish.
Okay.
Think salmon, sardines, mackerel.
Okay.
They're packed with omega-3 fatty acids, those inflammation fighters we talked about earlier.
Right.
Plus, they're a great source of vitamin D,
Okay.
which is crucial for so many bodily functions.
So fatty fish, double whammy for fighting inflammation and supporting overall health. Now, you mentioned grass-fed beef. What makes that stand out?
Think of grass-fed beef as a nutrient powerhouse.
Okay.
Compared to conventionally raised beef, it's higher in those beneficial omega-3s, vitamins, and minerals, and lower in overall fat and calories.
More nutrients, less fat. Sign me up now into poultry. What's the deal with pasture-raised poultry? It seems like a lot of people are talking about that these days.
It comes down to how the animals are raised.
Okay.
Pasture-raised poultry live a more natural life, foraging for foods, soaking up the sunshine, and that translates to a more nutrient-rich meat for us.
Okay.
Dr. Ekberg suggests trying to find pasture-raised chicken, turkey, and duck whenever possible.
Okay, so our protein MVPs are fatty fish, grass-fed beef, and pasture-raised poultry. Next up on the fat-burning food roster.
Let's move on to another category that's packed with protein and healthy fats, nuts and seeds.
Oh, I love nuts and seeds.
Yeah.
They're so versatile snacks toppings, even ingredients in main dishes. But I've heard some conflicting information about certain nuts, like almonds. What's Dr. Ekberg's take on that?
You're right. There is a lot of information out there, and it can be confusing.
Right.
Dr. Ekberg does mention that while almonds are generally considered healthy,
Yeah.
for some people, eating large quantities can cause issues.
Interesting.
It's always important to listen to your body and see how different foods make you feel.
That's such a good point. It's not one size fits all.
Exactly.
So what are some other nuts and seeds we should be adding to our diet?
Dr. Ekberg highlights flax, chia, and hemp seeds as great sources of soluble fiber.
Okay.
Think of soluble fiber as a sponge in your gut. It absorbs water and helps keep you feeling full and satisfied.
And feeling full is key when it comes to managing cravings, right?
Yes, exactly.
Any other standout nuts and seeds?
Walnuts, flax, chia, and hemp seeds also contain a type of omega-3 called ALA.
Okay.
Now, it's not as powerful as the EPA and DHA you find in fatty fish, but your body can actually convert some of that ALA into EPA and DHA, so it's still a good way to boost your intake, especially if you're looking for plant-based sources.
Interesting. So even plant-based eaters can get some of those omega-3 benefits. Anything else special about nuts and seeds?
Oh yeah, don't forget the minerals, magnesium, zinc, and more.
Right.
They're really tiny but mighty powerhouses when it comes to supporting energy metabolism and overall health.
Okay, I'm officially convinced nuts and seeds are going on my grocery list.
Yeah.
So what's next on Dr. Ekberg's fat-burning menu?
Let's move on to a category that's all about volume and nutrient density.
Okay.
Non-starchy vegetables.
Yes. I love how Dr. Ekberg calls them volume without the calories.
Exactly.
You can really pile them on your plate without feeling guilty.
Yes.
But doesn't that depend on how you prepare them?
That's a great point. Dr. Ekberg stresses that we want to avoid drowning our veggies in unhealthy fats or sugary sauces.
Yeah.
He recommends simple preparations, roasting, steaming, sautéing, and a bit of olive oil. The goal is to enhance their natural flavors and retain their nutrient value.
Makes sense. Now, we've talked about the volume aspect of non-starchy veggies. Well, what about the nutrient density? What makes them so special in that regard?
They're loaded with fiber, which we know is essential for digestion and satiety.
Right.
But they're also bursting with vitamins and minerals, and each color provides different benefits.
Okay.
Think of it like eating a rainbow.
I love that visual eating a rainbow. It makes healthy eating feel so much more fun, but aren't some people sensitive to certain vegetables?
That's true. Dr. Ekberg does mention potential sensitivities, particularly to compounds like lectins or oxalates. The key is to experiment and see how different veggies make you feel.
Okay, so listen to your body. Great advice. All right, we've got our protein powerhouses, our nutrient-packed nuts and seeds, and now our volume-boosting non-starchy veggies. What else is on Dr. Ekberg's fat-burning hit list?
Let's move on to something a little sweeter, berries.
Berries, don't those have a lot of sugar, though? I thought we were trying to avoid sugar spikes.
Here's where it gets interesting. While berries do have natural sugars, they have a secret weapon.
Oh.
Fiber, they offer that sweet satisfaction you get from other fruits, but with half the sugar and double the fiber.
Whoa, double the fiber so they satisfy the sweet tooth and help regulate blood sugar at the same time.
Exactly. Plus, they're packed with antioxidants and vitamin C, making them a real powerhouse for overall health.
Okay, berries are officially back on my menu.
Good.
But there are so many types of berries out there. Does Dr. Ekberg mention any favorites?
He highlights the lower sugar options, blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, but he also includes strawberries, mulberries, cranberries, even gooseberries.
Wow.
So you have a lot of delicious options to choose from.
So much berry variety. I'm already brainstorming smoothie recipes in my head. Okay, what's next on our fat-burning food adventure?
Time to give some love to the incredible edible egg.
Egg. I love eggs. They really are nature's multivitamin, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
But I know you're going to tell me that not all eggs are created equal.
You know me too well. Dr. Ekberg really emphasizes choosing pasture-raised eggs whenever you can.
Okay, break it down for me. What's the big difference between pasture-raised and conventional eggs?
The difference is pretty remarkable, especially in the nutrient content.
Okay.
Pasture-raised eggs have up to 5 times more vitamin D compared to conventional eggs.
Wow.
Plus, they boast significantly higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids and have a healthier omega-6 to omega-3 ratio,
Okay.
which is important for reducing inflammation in the body.
5 times more vitamin D. That's impressive. All right, pasture-raised eggs. It is. So we've got our team powerhouses, our fiber-rich nuts and seeds, our volume-boosting veggies, our sweet and satisfying berries, and our incredible edible eggs. What's next on this fat-burning food extravaganza?
Let's move on to a food that's become incredibly popular in recent years, avocado.
Avocado. Now you're talking. It's so creamy and delicious. But isn't it high in fat? I thought we were trying to burn fat, not add more.
That's where a lot of people get confused.
Yeah.
Not all fat is created equal. Dr. Ekberg highlights the importance of healthy fats.
Okay.
They're essential for feeling full, balancing hormones and even making those veggies taste better.
Okay, I'm listening. What makes avocado such a superstar in the healthy fat department?
Well, it's got this unique combo of healthy fats, fiber, and very few carbs. It really is the trifecta of satisfaction.
Wow.
But it's not a complete protein, so you'll want to make sure you're getting protein from other sources.
No problem. We've got a whole arsenal of protein powerhouses to choose from.
Exactly.
But back to avocado. What else is so great about it?
It's like a nutritional gold mine.
Okay.
Vitamins K, E, C, and B9 plus minerals like potassium, magnesium, manganese.
Wow.
And get this, it even has lutein and zeaxanthin, which are crucial for eye health.
Avocado, you truly are a superstar. Okay, what's next on Dr. Ekberg's list?
Time to debunk another big myth and embrace the power of healthy fats.
Wait, healthy fats, didn't we just cover that with avocado?
We did, but avocado is just one example.
Okay.
Dr. Ekberg wants to emphasize that fat doesn't automatically equal getting fat.
Right.
It's all about choosing the right kinds of fats, the ones that nourish our bodies and help us thrive.
Okay, I'm ready to learn what kinds of healthy fats should we be incorporating into our diet.
First and foremost, he stresses choosing organic sources whenever possible.
Okay.
Why? Because concentrated fats can also mean concentrated toxins, pesticides, and hormones.
Right.
We want the good stuff without the bad.
Makes sense. So what are some of the top healthy fat contenders?
Dr. Ekberg lists olive oil, coconut oil, and butter as excellent choices for cooking.
Okay.
He does mention that we need to be mindful of cooking temperatures, though.
Right.
Coconut oil has a higher smoke point, making it ideal for high-heat cooking,
Mm-hmm.
while olive oil and butter are better for lower temperatures.
Okay, so it's all about using the right fat for the right job. What about animal fats? Those seem to be making a comeback these days.
You're right. Dr. Ekberg actually encourages us to rethink our perception of lard and tallow. When sourced from well-raised animals, these can be healthy additions to our diet.
Interesting. I never would have thought of lard and tallow as healthy fats. What about avocado oil? That seems to be pretty popular these days.
It is, but Dr. Ekberg points out that most commercially available avocado oil is refined, which means it's been processed and stripped of some of its nutrients.
Okay.
He suggests looking for unrefined, cold-pressed avocado oil for maximum benefits.
Okay, so read those labels carefully.
Yes.
We want the good stuff, not the processed version. So we've got our protein powerhouses, our fiber-rich nuts and seeds, our volume-boosting veggies, our sweet and satisfying berries, our incredible edible eggs, our creamy avocados, and now our healthy fats. What's next on Dr. Ekberg's fat-burning hit list?
Now we're moving into some lesser-known territory, the world of fermented foods.
Fermented food. Now, that's not something I would have expected on a list of fat-burning foods.
I know it's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah.
But remember what we said about gut health and insulin sensitivity?
Right.
Fermented foods are like a secret weapon for improving both of those.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Remind me how gut health plays a role in fat burning.
Fermented foods are full of probiotics, which are beneficial bacteria that support a healthy balance in your gut.
Okay.
Those good bacteria help crowd out the harmful ones, improve digestion, and even boost your immune system.
So it's like a microscopic battle going on in our gut, and we want to make sure the good guys win.
Exactly. And fermented foods are the reinforcements we need to help those good bacteria thrive.
Okay, I'm starting to understand the connection, but beyond the usual yogurt and kefir, what other fermented foods are out there?
Dr. Ekberg mentions sauerkraut.
Okay.
That's fermented cabbage, and kimchi, a traditional Korean dish made with fermented vegetables.
Interesting.
He even talks about natto, which is a fermented soybean product.
Natto, I've heard of that, but I never tried it. Is it any good?
Well, let's just say it's an acquired taste.
Okay.
But it's definitely packed with nutrients.
Okay, noted. I might need to work my way to natto. So we've got yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and natto as our gut-healing fermented food champions. What's next on those Ekberg's fat-burning adventure?
Get ready to turn up the heat with thermogenic foods.
Thermogenic foods. Okay, that sounds interesting. What exactly are they?
Thermogenic foods are those that literally increase calorie burn by raising your body temperature.
Wait, are you telling me I can burn calories just by eating certain foods? That sounds almost too good to be true, but doesn't that go against the whole idea of a calorie deficit?
It's not a magic solution, but it can give you a small boost.
Okay.
Think of it as a bonus, not the main strategy.
All right, I'll take any boost I can get. So which foods have these thermogenic superpowers?
Dr. Ekberg talks about spicy peppers, especially those with capsaicin, which is what gives them that heat.
Okay.
He says consuming around 10 to 12 milligrams of capsaicin daily can increase thermogenesis, leading to an extra 50 calories burned per day.
Okay, I'm officially stocking up on hot sauce. What else?
Ginger is another one. Dr. Ekberg suggests that consuming 2 to 4 grams of ginger daily can lead to an additional 45 calories burned.
Ginger, I love ginger. I add it to my smoothies, my stir fries, my tea. The possibilities are endless.
And then there's green tea and coffee.
Okay.
Dr. Ekberg says that drinking 3 to 5 cups of green tea or coffee daily can boost thermogenesis, potentially leading to an extra 60 to 150 calories burned.
Whoa, coffee and green tea. Those are already staples in my day. This is great news, but isn't there a limit to how much caffeine we should be consuming?
Good point. Dr. Ekberg does caution against overdoing caffeine, as it can be stimulating and even stressful for your body.
So moderation is key. What other thermogenic foods are on Dr. Ekberg's list?
He mentions MCT oil, which is derived from coconut oil.
Okay.
It's made up of medium-chain triglycerides, which are absorbed more quickly by the body and can be used for energy faster than other fats.
Okay.
Dr. Ekberg suggests consuming 15 to 30 grams of MCT oil daily can boost calorie burn by 100 to 200 calories.
MCT oil, I've heard of that. So it's like a supercharged version of coconut oil.
Exactly. And finally, Dr. Ekberg brings back an old friend, apple cider vinegar. He says consuming 1 to 2 tablespoons daily can increase calorie expenditure by 50 to 100 calories.
Apple cider vinegar is like the multi-talented star of the health world.
It really is. It has so many benefits.
Okay, so our thermogenic heroes are spicy peppers, ginger, green tea, coffee, MCT oil, and apple cider vinegar. That's quite a lineup, but I feel like we're missing something. What about protein? We talked about it earlier, but doesn't it have a thermogenic effect too?
You're right. Dr. Ekberg does circle back to protein to highlight its thermic effect, which, as we discussed, means it takes more energy to digest. But he also adds a word of caution about overdoing protein.
Really? Why is that? I thought protein was a good thing.
It is, but too much protein can potentially disrupt the balance of bacteria in your gut. Remember, we want to keep those good bacteria thriving.
Right, balance is key. So we need to find that sweet spot of protein intake, enough to get the benefits, but not so much that it throws our gut out of whack. Makes sense.
Exactly. And to wrap up his list, Dr. Ekberg introduces a category he calls functional foods.
Okay.
These are additional options that offer unique benefits beyond basic nutrition.
Functional foods, I like that. What are some of these all-stars?
One of his favorites is bone broth. It's rich in collagen, which is great for gut health and can promote satiety.
Collagen, the building block of healthy skin, hair, and nails, and now it's a gut healing hero too. Amazing.
It really is. And of course, he mentions apple cider vinegar again,
Okay.
highlighting its benefits for insulin sensitivity, digestion, blood sugar regulation. It's a multitasker.
Apple cider vinegar, you really are a superstar. What other functional foods does Dr. Ekberg recommend?
He suggests adding dark chocolate to your diet,
Oh.
but with a caveat, it has to be 85% or higher in cacao content.
Why so high? What's wrong with milk chocolate?
Remember those sugar spikes we're trying to avoid?
Right.
Well, the lower the cacao content, the higher the sugar content.
Sugar, the sneaky saboteur of our healthy eating plans. But I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of dark chocolate. It's just so bitter.
I get it, but Dr. Ekberg says our taste buds can adapt as we reduce our sugar intake, our palates adjust, and we start to appreciate the richer, more complex flavors of dark chocolate.
Okay.
He even says it starts to taste sweet after a while.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like retraining our taste buds to embrace the good stuff.
Exactly, and it's worth the effort because dark chocolate offers a surprising amount of benefits.
Like what? Give me the highlights.
Well, it's a good source of fiber, which, as we know, is important for both digestion and feeling full, but it's also packed with beneficial compounds like flavanols and polyphenols.
Flavanols and polyphenols, those sound like superhero names. What do they do?
They have a ton of effects on the body, but Dr. Ekberg highlights a few key benefits. First, they stimulate nitric oxide production, which improves blood flow, which in turn supports everything from heart health to cognitive function.
Okay, better blood flow. Check. What else?
They also improve insulin receptor function. Remember, that's key for managing blood sugar levels and preventing insulin resistance, which is exactly what we're aiming for.
Got it. Anything else these superhero compounds do?
Oh, they also have prebiotic effects, which means they act as food for those good bacteria in our gut.
They're feeding the good guys? That's amazing. Anything else?
Last but not least, they actually enhance mitochondrial function.
Okay.
You know, the mitochondria, those are the powerhouses of our cells, the ones responsible for converting food into energy.
So they literally help us burn fat more efficiently. Dark chocolate is a true superhero. Okay. I'm sold. Dark chocolate is officially back on my shopping list. So to recap, Dr. Ekberg's fat-burning superstars include meat, nuts, and seeds, non-starchy veggies, berries, eggs, avocados, healthy fats, fermented foods, thermogenic foods, and functional foods like bone broth, apple cider vinegar, and dark chocolate.
That's an impressive lineup.
It is. But before we rush off to stock our pantries, let's take a step back and think about the bigger picture of Dr. Ekberg's approach.
Yeah, it's not just about individual foods. It's about creating a healthy lifestyle that we can enjoy and sustain for the long term.
Which brings us to our next source, one that offers a slightly different perspective on weight loss-friendly foods. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve into the Eating Well article and see how their recommendations compare to Dr. Ekberg's.
All right, so are you ready for a different perspective on building a weight loss-friendly plate?
Bring it on. I'm all about exploring different viewpoints. What's our next source?
This time we're diving into an article from Eating Well,
Okay.
titled The 20 Most Weight Loss-Friendly Foods on the Planet.
Okay.
This one takes a broader approach,
Okay.
focusing on nutrient-dense foods that support overall health and weight management.
So less about specific fat-burning mechanisms and more about the big picture of healthy eating for sustainable weight loss.
Exactly. You'll see some overlap with Dr. Ekberg's recommendations, but there are some interesting additions and nuances here too.
Okay, I'm ready to compare and contrast. What are some of the highlights from Eating Well?
Well, they kick things off with a familiar friend,
Okay.
leafy greens. They emphasize that greens like spinach, kale, and collards are low in calories but high in fiber, which makes them a great foundation for weight management.
Leafy greens, those volume superstars. Dr. Ekberg was a big fan of those too. But I'm curious, the Eating Well article lists 20 foods. Is it just a longer list or does it offer a different approach?
It's more than just a longer list. Eating Well delves into the why behind their choices, and they often connect those choices to broader health goals. For example, they highlight salmon, just like Dr. Ekberg,
Okay.
for its protein and omega-3s.
Right?
But they also call out cruciferous vegetables, things like broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts,
Okay.
for their potential to regulate hormones related to fat storage.
Hormone regulation, that's fascinating. Dr. Ekberg didn't really touch on that. Tell me more.
Eating Well explains that cruciferous veggies contain compounds that may help balance estrogen levels,
Okay.
which can be a game changer for fat storage, especially for women.
So cruciferous veggies aren't just for cancer prevention. They might be hormone helpers too. That's an interesting angle. What else stands out from this article?
They give berries a big thumbs up, just like Dr. Ekberg, highlighting their fiber and antioxidants for blood sugar control and reducing inflammation, but they also bring in legumes.
Okay.
Beans, lentils, chickpeas for their combo of fiber and protein.
Okay.
They explain that this duo slows digestion, promoting fullness and stabilizing blood sugar levels, which is key for managing those energy crashes that can lead to unhealthy cravings.
Beans and lentils, classic comfort foods. It's great to see them getting recognition for their weight loss-friendly potential. Anything else surprising?
Get ready for this. They include potato.
Potatoes, really? I thought those were a no-no for weight loss because of all the starch and carbs.
That's a common misconception. Eating Well acknowledges that potatoes are carb-heavy,
Right.
but they're also good sources of potassium and fiber. They recommend choosing nutrient-rich varieties like sweet potatoes and purple potatoes,
Okay.
and preparing them in healthy ways like baking or roasting.
So it's not about demonizing potatoes entirely, but being smart about the types we choose and how we prepare them.
Exactly, and they apply a similar logic to whole grains. They recommend whole unprocessed grains like brown rice, quinoa, and oats. Again, it's about the fiber and nutrients for healthy digestion and blood sugar control.
Whole grains, another one that keeps popping up. They're definitely eating their weight loss-friendly reputation. What about healthy fats? Does Eating Well align with Dr. Ekberg on that?
Absolutely. They're big on avocados, highlighting their monounsaturated fat content, which has been linked to improved heart health and reduced belly fat. They also recommend nuts and seeds, just like Dr. Ekberg, emphasizing the protein, fiber, and healthy fat combo that makes them such a satisfying snack.
I'm noticing a theme here. Both sources are really emphasizing the importance of healthy fats as part of a balanced weight loss plan. It's like a complete shift from the low-fat craze of the past.
It really is. We are finally understanding that healthy fats are crucial for so many aspects of our well-being, including weight management.
It's time for a fantastic revolution. All right, what else is on Eating Well's list?
They recommend including lean protein sources,
Okay.
chicken, fish, tofu for building and maintaining muscle mass, which is key for boosting metabolism. And they give eggs a thumbs up too, highlighting their protein and nutrient content and the fact that they can help us feel fuller for longer.
So more alignment with Dr. Ekberg on lean protein and eggs. Are there any foods on Eating Well's list that weren't on Dr. Ekberg's?
They do. They recommend grapefruit, which is low in calories and high in fiber,
Okay.
and pears, which are a good source of fiber, including a special kind called pectin that's been linked to better blood sugar control and lower cholesterol.
Grapefruit and pears, delicious and weight loss friendly. What about beverages?
Eating Well recommends green tea for its antioxidants and metabolism-boosting properties.
Okay.
Water for its zero-calorie hydration and fullness-promoting effects, and black coffee for its potential to temporarily boost metabolism and increase calorie burn, as long as you skip the sugar and cream, of course.
Okay, so we've got green tea, water, and black coffee as our weight loss beverage all-stars.
Exactly. So to sum up Eating Well's top picks, we've got leafy greens, salmon cruciferous veggies, berries, legumes, potatoes, whole grains, nuts and seeds, avocado lean, protein eggs, grapefruit pears, green tea water, and black coffee. It's a pretty comprehensive list.
It is, and what's fascinating is that while there's overlap with Dr. Ekberg's recommendations, eating well takes a broader approach, emphasizing nutrient density, hormone regulation, and overall metabolic health.
Exactly. It's like we're getting two sides of the same coin, specific fat-burning mechanisms from Dr. Ekberg and a holistic view of healthy eating for weight loss from eating well. But are you ready to shake things up a bit?
Always up for a good shakeup. What do you have in mind?
Let's shift gears and delve into a topic that tends to cause a lot of confusion and debate.
Okay.
The role of carbohydrates in weight loss.
Ooh, carbs. The word that strikes fear into the hearts of many dieters. I'm ready to unpack this carbohydrate conundrum. What's our next source?
We're turning to an article from Healthline titled Good Carbs versus Bad Carbs, How to Make the Right Choices.
Okay.
This one aims to provide a balanced perspective explaining that not all carbs are created equal.
Good carbs versus bad carbs. That sounds promising. I'm eager to learn how to navigate this carb-laden world.
Me too. The article starts by reminding us that carbohydrates are one of the 3 macronutrients that provide energy for our bodies.
Right.
They're found in a wide variety of foods, including fruits, vegetables, grains, and dairy products. The key, they say, is to choose the right types of carbs, those that are nutrient-rich and provide sustained energy, while limiting those that are processed, refined, and quickly converted into sugar.
So it's quality over quantity when it comes to carbs.
Exactly. They explain that good carbs are typically high in fiber, vitamins, and minerals, while bad carbs are often stripped of their nutrients during processing, leaving behind empty calories that can contribute to weight gain, blood sugar fluctuations, and other health issues.
Okay, I'm starting to see the distinction. So what are some examples of those good carbs we should be prioritizing?
They highlight whole grains, brown rice, quinoa, oats, and whole wheat bread.
Okay.
The fiber in whole grains helps slow down digestion, which keeps you feeling full longer and stabilizes blood sugar levels.
Whole grains, they're showing up everywhere. They're definitely earning their weight loss-friendly reputation. What other good carbs does Healthline recommend?
Legumes are another top pick. Beans, lentils, and chickpeas. They highlight the high fiber and protein content, which makes them a satisfying and nutrient-dense option.
Legumes, those protein-packed powerhouses. I'm noticing a pattern here. Lots of emphasis on fiber, protein, and whole, unprocessed foods.
You're definitely catching on. Healthline also stresses the importance of fruits and vegetables as sources of good carbs.
Right.
They're naturally low in calories and packed with vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants.
Fruits and veggies, the colorful champions of health. I think we can all agree that those deserve a spot on our plates. What about starchy vegetables? Where do those fit in?
They include starchy vegetables like sweet potatoes and corn as good carb options too.
Okay.
They point out that they provide energy and nutrients, but it's important to consume them in moderation as part of a balanced diet.
Okay, starchy veggies, enjoy them, but don't go overboard. Got it. Now, what about those bad carbs? We should be limiting what are the usual suspects.
The article provides a helpful breakdown. They suggest limiting refined grains like white bread, white rice, and pastries. They've been stripped of their bran and germ during processing, leaving mostly starch and very few nutrients behind.
Refined grains, those sneaky saboteurs, they might taste good, but they're not doing us any favors. What else is on the bad carbs list?
Sugary drinks like soda juice and sweetened coffee and tea are big no-nos.
Right.
They're loaded with empty calories that can lead to weight gain, blood sugar spikes, and other health problems.
Sugar drinks, I know I need to cut back on those. They can be so tempting, though.
They are, but awareness is the first step. And speaking of things to limit, they also recommend cutting back on processed foods like chips, cookies, and candy.
Right.
They're often high in refined grains, added sugar, unhealthy fats, and artificial ingredients. Not exactly a recipe for weight loss success.
Processed foods, convenient, but often calorie-laden culprits. I think we can all relate to the struggle of resisting those tempting treats.
It's definitely a challenge, but by understanding the difference between good carbs and bad carbs, we can make more informed choices that support our goals.
Okay, so our good carbs are whole grains, legumes, fruits, veggies, and starchy veggies in moderation. And our bad carbs, refined grains, sugary drinks, and processed foods are the ones we want to limit. But this brings up an interesting point. We've been talking a lot about food choices, but what about those people who feel like their weight is out of their control, like it's all down to genetics?
That's a great question. It's time to bring genetics into the conversation and see how it fits in with this complex puzzle of weight loss.
Ooh, the nature versus nature debate. I'm ready to unravel the genetic mysteries of weight loss. What's our next source?
We're turning to an article from Harvard Health Publishing.
Okay.
Titled Why People Become Overweight. This article takes a comprehensive look at the various factors that contribute to weight gain, including genetics, lifestyle, and environmental influences.
So it's not just about willpower or making the right food choices. There's a whole interplay of factors at play.
Exactly. And that's what makes this topic so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not a simple equation of calories in, calories out. It's a complex interplay of biology, behavior, and environment.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into the complexities. What does Harvard Health Publishing have to say about the role of genetics in weight loss?
They explain that genetics plays a significant role in determining our body weight shape and even how our metabolism functions.
So are you saying some of us are just destined to carry more weight than others? Is it really all in our genes?
It's not that simple. While genes do influence our predisposition to weight gain, they don't dictate our destiny. Harvard Health Publishing explains that genes interact with our environment and lifestyle choices.
Right.
It's this complex web of factors that ultimately influences our weight.
So it's not a blame it on my genes situation. It's more about understanding how our genes might make us more susceptible to certain weight-related challenges. But if our genes are a factor, does that mean healthy choices don't matter as much?
That's where things get interesting. While we can't change our genes,
Right.
we can influence how they're expressed through our lifestyle choices.
So even if we have a genetic predisposition to weight gain, we still have the power to make healthy choices that can mitigate those risks.
Exactly. They emphasize that factors like diet, exercise, sleep, stress management, and even our gut microbiome can all play a role in influencing gene expression and impacting our weight.
Wow, so it's not just about what we eat, but also how we live.
Precisely, Harvard Health Publishing highlights the importance of a holistic approach to weight management.
Okay?
It's not just about the food choices, but also our overall lifestyle habits.
Okay, so genes are part of the equation, but they don't have the final say. We still have agency to make healthy choices. But this feels like a lot to juggle genes, environment, lifestyle. It could be pretty overwhelming.
It can, and that's why it's so important to approach it one step at a time.
Okay.
Harvard Health Publishing emphasizes that even small lifestyle changes can make a big difference over time.
So it's not about aiming for perfection, but rather about making consistent, sustainable changes that can move us in the right direction, kind of like what Eating Well suggested with their food swaps.
Exactly. It's about progress, not perfection, and they also stress finding joy in the journey.
Okay.
What are the healthy habits you actually enjoy and can sustain over the long term? That's what matters most.
I love that it's not about deprivation and punishment, but rather about finding pleasure in taking care of ourselves.
Exactly. But we also need to remember that weight loss isn't always linear. Harvard Health Publishing points out that there will be ups and downs, plateaus, and setbacks.
So we need to be patient with ourselves and not get discouraged when things don't go perfectly.
Absolutely. They emphasize the importance of self-compassion and persistence. It's about embracing the journey, learning from our experiences, and continuing to make healthy choices, even when faced with challenges. And here's a key point. They suggest that understanding our genetic predispositions can actually be empowering.
Okay.
It allows us to tailor our lifestyle choices to our unique needs and address potential challenges proactively.
I love that perspective. It's not about fighting our genes, but working with them to achieve our health goals. But sometimes, even with the best intentions, our emotions can get in the way of our healthy choices. What about the psychological side of weight loss, all those thoughts and feelings that can lead to overeating?
You've hit on another crucial piece of the puzzle. It's time to delve into the psychology of food and explore how our minds influence our eating habits. Our next source comes from the American Psychological Association. Are you ready to get into the mental game?
Absolutely. I'm ready to unlock the secrets to creating a healthier relationship with food. All right, so we're about to explore the mental side of weight loss. I'm ready to dive in. What's the source we'll be looking at for this?
We're turning to an article from the American Psychological Association titled Healthy Weight Loss.
Okay.
This one explores the psychological factors that can contribute to overeating and weight gain, offering practical strategies for building a healthier relationship with food.
So it's more than just willpower and motivation.
Yeah,
There's a whole psychological component to weight loss. I think a lot of people struggle with that.
absolutely, and it's what makes this topic so important.
Right.
It's not just about choosing the right foods, but also understanding why we make certain choices and developing healthy ways to cope with stress emotions and other triggers that can lead to overeating.
Okay, I'm ready to unpack this. What insights does the American Psychological Association offer?
They start by explaining that our relationship with food is complex and shaped by so many factors. Biology, environment, culture, personal experiences. There's no single right way to eat or lose weight.
So it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Definitely not. It's about finding what works best for each individual, taking into account their unique circumstances and needs.
I love that it's about personalizing our approach to weight loss. So where do we even begin?
They highlight the importance of developing mindful eating habits.
Okay.
Instead of mindlessly scarfing down food, while distracted mindful eating involves paying attention to hunger and fullness cues, really savoring the taste and texture of food, and being present in the moment while we eat.
That sounds like a great way to slow down and really appreciate our food, but how does that actually help with weight loss?
By practicing mindful eating, we become more aware of our patterns, when we eat, why we eat, how much we eat.
Right.
We can start to identify those triggers that might lead us to overeat and develop healthier responses to them.
Okay, so it's about becoming more conscious of our choices. What about those times when our emotions drive us to eat, even when we're not physically hungry? What do they say about emotional eating?
That's a great question, and something a lot of people can relate to. The article acknowledges that it's normal to turn to food for comfort sometimes.
Right.
But it becomes a problem when it's our main way of dealing with difficult emotion.
So instead of reaching for that bag of chips when we're stressed, what are some healthier ways to cope?
The article suggests exploring other options.
Okay.
Things like exercise, meditation, journaling, spending time with loved ones, or pursuing hobbies we enjoy.
So it's about building a toolbox of healthy coping mechanisms that we can use instead of turning to food.
Exactly. And they emphasize that it's important to address those underlying emotional issues.
Right.
Sometimes emotional eating is a symptom of something deeper.
That makes sense. It's not about ignoring our emotions, but rather understanding them and finding healthier ways to address them. What about our body image? How does that play into the psychology of weight loss?
They highlight that having a negative body image can actually make it harder to lose weight.
Oh, wow.
We might restrict ourselves too much, then end up binging, or we might punish ourselves for perceived imperfections, which can lead to a cycle of guilt and shame.
So it's not just about achieving a certain size or shape, but rather about appreciating our bodies regardless of their perceived flaws.
Exactly. They suggest that shifting our focus from weight loss to health and well-being can make a big difference.
Okay?
It's about treating ourselves with kindness and respect regardless of our size.
That's such a powerful message. It's about loving ourselves enough to take care of ourselves. What else does the American Psychological Association emphasize?
Setting realistic goals is key. It's easy to get caught up in those lose 10 pounds in a week promises, but those often lead to disappointment and frustration.
Right, slow and steady wins the race. So instead of those drastic measures, what kind of goals should we be setting?
The article recommends starting with small, achievable goals that we can build on over time.
Okay.
Instead of overhauling your entire life overnight, focus on 1 or 2 small changes each week.
So gradual changes that we can stick with, that makes a lot more sense. But even with small goals, it's easy to lose motivation. Any tips for staying on track?
They suggest celebrating successes along the way. It's not just about reaching the finish line, but acknowledging our progress and giving ourselves credit for the effort.
I love that it's about finding joy in the journey and recognizing that every step we take towards a healthier lifestyle is a victory worth celebrating. What about those times that we feel stuck or overwhelmed? Do they offer any advice for those moments?
Absolutely. They emphasize the importance of seeking professional support when needed.
Okay.
A therapist can help us address emotional eating, develop healthy coping mechanisms, and create a more positive relationship with food.
It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help.
Not at all. It's a sign of strength and self-awareness, and they highlight that therapists can provide guidance, support, and evidence-based strategies for overcoming challenges and achieving lasting change.
It's comforting to know that we don't have to go it alone. Okay, so we've explored the psychological side of weight loss, and it seems like the key takeaways are to practice mindful eating, develop healthy coping mechanisms, cultivate a positive body image, set realistic goals, celebrate our successes, and seek professional support when needed.
That's a great summary, and it ties in perfectly with our final source, which focuses on the concept of sustainable weight loss.
Okay.
We're going back to the Mayo Clinic for this one.
The Mayo Clinic, a trusted source for health information. I'm ready to hear their take on sustainable weight loss. What's the article we'll be looking at?
It's titled Weight Loss: 6 Strategies for Success.
Okay.
This one provides a comprehensive guide to achieving and maintaining a healthy weight, emphasizing the importance of making gradual, sustainable changes.
So it's not about quick fixes or fad diets. It's about making lasting changes that we can stick with over time.
Exactly. They focus on finding what works for you as an individual and incorporating those healthy habits into your daily life in a way that feels manageable and enjoyable.
Okay. I'm intrigued. What are their 6 strategies for success?
Their first strategy is making gradual changes to your diet.
Gradual changes. I think that's a recurring theme in this deep dive.
It is.
It's all about taking small steps that we can sustain. What kind of gradual changes do they recommend?
They suggest starting with simple swaps, choose whole grains over refined grains, opt for fruits and veggies as snacks, and drink water instead of sugary beverages.
So it's about making small, manageable changes that add up over time rather than overhauling our entire diet overnight.
Exactly. And they stress finding an eating pattern that you could stick with for the long haul.
Okay.
They mention exploring different approaches like the Mediterranean diet, the DASH diet, or even a plant-based diet. The key is finding what feels good for your body and your taste buds.
I love that it's about finding what works for you, not following some rigid set of rules. What else does the Mayo Clinic recommend for sustainable weight loss?
Their second strategy is incorporating regular physical activity into your routine.
Exercise, we knew it was coming, but how much exercise do we actually need?
They suggest aiming for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic activity or 75 minutes of vigorous intensity aerobic activity per week. And remember, it's about finding activities that you enjoy.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to do workouts we hate, but rather finding ways to move our bodies that feel good and that we can stick with over time.
Exactly. They recommend gradually increasing your activity level, especially if you're starting from a sedentary lifestyle.
It's about building up our endurance and fitness gradually rather than trying to do too much too soon. What about sleep? Does that play a role in sustainable weight loss?
Their third strategy focuses on getting enough sleep. The Mayo Clinic points out that lack of sleep can mess with our hormones, increase our appetite, and make us more likely to make unhealthy food choices, all of which can lead to weight gain.
So getting enough sleep is just as important as watching what we eat and exercising.
Absolutely. They suggest aiming for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night.
Sleep, the ultimate form of self-care. Okay, what's the fourth strategy?
This one is about managing stress effectively. We all know stress can lead to unhealthy habits, including overeating.
Stress eating is definitely something I struggle with. How does stress actually impact our weight?
When we're stressed, our bodies release hormones like cortisol, which can increase our appetite and promote fat storage, especially in the belly area.
So we need to find healthy ways to manage stress if we want to lose weight and keep it off.
Exactly. The Mayo Clinic suggests exploring different techniques like exercise, meditation, yoga, spending time in nature, or engaging in hobbies that bring you joy.
So it's about building our stress management toolbox and having those healthy coping mechanisms ready to go. What's their fifth strategy?
This one is all about seeking support. They emphasize that we don't have to navigate this journey alone.
Teamwork makes the dream work. What kind of support do they recommend?
They suggest reaching out to healthcare professionals, registered dietitians, therapists, personal trainers, support groups, or even friends and family. Having that network of support can provide encouragement, guidance, and accountability.
That's so important. Knowing we're not alone can make all the difference. Okay, what's the sixth and final strategy for sustainable weight loss?
This one is simple but crucial. Be patient and persistent. The Mayo Clinic reminds us that this is a journey, not a destination.
So it's about progress, not perfection.
Exactly. It's about embracing the ups and downs, celebrating successes, and not getting discouraged by setbacks. Sustainable weight loss isn't about quick fixes. It's about making lasting changes that become part of who you are.
This deep dive has been incredible. We've gone from specific fat-burning foods to the psychology of eating, and finally to the big picture of sustainable weight loss.
Yeah, and we've seen that it's not about finding the perfect diet,
Right.
but rather about understanding ourselves, our bodies, and our relationship with food. It's about making gradual changes, building healthy habits, and embracing the journey.
Exactly. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports our overall health and well-being. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. Reach out for support, find what works for you, and be patient with yourself along the way.
Well said. Weight loss is a journey, and it's one we can all embark on with knowledge, self-compassion, and a sense of adventure.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into the world of weight loss. We hope you feel empowered to make sustainable changes and create a healthier, happier you. Until next time, happy eating.